Well, good afternoon, people. Welcome to Prog Monster. My name is Murph. I am the host of this show. This is a show dedicated to progressive rock and other forms of rock music. So I'm glad to have you aboard. This is a new show that I'm doing. It will come out every second week, alternating with another new show called Metal. So this one is called The Forward Champion. Basically what we're going to do on this show, and it's basically just for fun, just want to do it just to kind of get an idea of where people's joy really lies, what albums they really like, and you can tell sometimes by when you compare certain albums to each other, if people all choose this one, and you know that there's something about that album that's a little more special than the other one. Not necessarily, but I just feel like that's often the case. Sorry, my hat's a bit crooked again. So today we're going to do what this show is about is I will choose two albums. This is the inaugural show, so this will be the only time I choose two. Those two albums will be just random albums that I decide on, and I'm going to talk about each of them. And then at the end, everybody who's watching, if they want to put a vote in, which one do you like better? Do you like this one better? Or do you like the other one better? And if you want to say why you like it better, or that's fine too. These aren't necessarily any particular genre. They could be wildly different genre. They might be the same genre. In this case, they're pretty wildly different. But so we're going to do this every second week, and the winner of this episode will be crowned on the day of the next episode. So you got 2 weeks. Anybody who's watching it, there'll be about 2 weeks' time just to put a vote in. Whatever the vote is, whatever the most votes are for the whatever album, that's the one that will go on to be the forward champion, and he will take on a new album on that week. If he gets 5 albums under his belt, if he wins five battles, then he'll go retire, and we will probably have a grand champion battle if we have more than 1 or 2 of those type of albums at the end of the year to see who's the best one. Okay, so having said all that, it's just for fun. I like doing these things. Sometimes these battle of the bands where I'm listening to 2 albums and then deciding, aren't all as good. I like to get people involved. That's what I'm trying to say. So here are the 2 albums. So the first one is a band that I've been getting into a lot more lately, and had a time period where I listened to them a lot, going back to when my daughter was younger. They were a band I got right into for a while, and I'm back here now. This particular album, kind of bluesy in some ways, got some progressive elements here. Great vocal duo here, fantastic piano, some good guitar, some keyboard parts, drums are good as well. But the songs are what make this album. The songs are so good, like from top to bottom, every tune on it. And we're talking about Supertramp's Crime of the Century. I love the album cover here. This is I think this is the magnus opus of the group, although some people might say it's Breakfast in America. For different reasons they're popular, but this one here is the one that I think is their best album. And it has like 8 tracks on it. Really, really good, solid production. The sound of this album is really good. So many good instrumentation. All of them played to their perfection. So you got School, which is absolutely one of the classic Supertramp songs. Lots of rock radio airplay with this tune, and so memorable. And then you jump right into Bloody Well Right, which is almost the exact same, but a heavier tune. Lots of really good vocals and guitars on that as well. Hide in Your Shell, maybe an underrated song here. Definitely could have been a bigger tune, I think. I always liked it a lot. Asylum, Davey's so good here, just fantastic. Dreamer, kind of that big kind of poppy hit, another rock radio staple. You got 3 of them here on this one album. So good. Rudy, maybe one of the most underrated but great tunes on this album. Love that as well. If everyone was listening And then of course you have the final track, Crime of the Century, which is the title track. A great final song for a fantastic album. You know, on this album you have playing, hopefully they give it, but they may not. This was released in 1974. Oh yeah, here it is. Supertramp. Of course, you got Bob C. Benberg, drums and percussion. Roger Hodgson, vocals, guitar, and pianos as well. John Anthony Helliwell, some killer sax on this album. Great clarinet and vocals as well. Dougie Thompson on the bass. And of course, Richard Davies, or Davis, vocals, keyboards, and harmonica. They both Hodgson and Davies do the singing. They both play piano. I personally prefer Davies' voice and piano better, but Roger Hodgson is just so good as well. Like, you know, this is a masterpiece album. There's absolutely no unperfection on this album. Everything just fits together like a glove. Great album. Okay, so that's the first album, and its challenger is very different. A totally different sounding album. Comes from a completely different sounding band. More of a rock and roll band with some country kind of influences here, some disco influences at times, but no less a great album. Okay, so you've got this album by the Stones, Rolling Stones, Some Girl. Not necessarily their top best album. I think it's in the realm of being a top album, but the Rolling Stones have so many good albums it would be difficult to put one down as the number one. I like the quirky kind of cover. You got all of their faces dubbed in over where they're supposed to be. You got Charlie Watts over here, and there's Mick Jagger there, and I'm sure Keith is here somewhere. I just don't see him. Anyways, it's just a quirky kind of cover, and then you got these kind of brassiere ads on the back as well. This is so good, you know. So the tracks on this album, Miss You, of course, is that kind of big hit that was during the disco era. Has a little bit of that disco-y flavor to it, but still such a catchy tune. When the Whip Comes Down, definitely one of the harder tracks on the album. That song I always liked quite a bit. Imagination, that's a song that grew on me over time. I really like this track a lot as well. Some Girls, of course, which is the title track to the album. Got some controversial stuff on that, but still good, still really good. You got Lies, then you got the Faraway Eyes, which is the kind of country kind of feel to it. A little bit different from the Stones at the time, but very, very good. And then you have Respectable with another kind of a heavy track. Before They Make Me Run, is that the Richards? Yeah, I think that's the song that Keith Richards sings. It's kind of a nasally voice to it, but I like the tune nevertheless. Beast of Burden, maybe my favorite tune on the album. Definitely right up there. And then of course you got Shattered, that heavier rockin' tune that so many people like. It's such a memorable thing. So on this album, released in '78, you got they may not list the people here. I'm not sure. Okay, so you got, doesn't really say. I thought they would give it, but they don't. I mean, you got Keith and Mick here. That's an obvious. Keith Richards, rhythm guitar, lead guitar, all kinds of backing vocals and stuff. You got Mick Jagger, lead vocalist. I think he does do some guitar on here as well. You got Charlie Watts on the drums here, and I believe that's Bill Wyman on bass. Now it doesn't show anything for the other guitar player, and at that time maybe they weren't quite sure who that was going to be. I'm not really sure, but Ronnie Wood should be on here. I don't see him, but still a very, very catchy album. Lots of hits. Miss You, Some Girls, Beast of Burden, Shattered. These are all radio staples. So both albums have a lot of airplay on rock radio staples. But of course they're very different albums. Like there's, the fans for one may not necessarily like the other one at all. I could see that happening. I personally like them both a lot and know which one I would choose. However, I'm going to leave that unsaid, and then you guys can just look at them. If you want to go listen to them, and then decide which one of these two you like better. My guess is the people watching, they will either really love one and not like the other, or the other way around. I'm thinking that's what'll probably happen. So there you have it. The Rolling Stones' Some Girls taking on Supertramp's Crime of the Century. Who is going to be the forward champion? It's up to you, not up to me. So have yourself a good day. Please like and subscribe, and make sure you put in the comments below which one you prefer. That would be great, and we'll see you in 2 weeks' time with another forward champion. Hopefully then we'll have a clear-cut forward champion. If we have a tie, we'll have to figure that out as well. Okay, take care.